Rival Shiite and Sunni Muslim tribes in northwestern Pakistan have agreed to a 7-day ceasefire. At least 82 people were killed and more than 150 injured in intense fighting in the Kurram region since Thursday. The clashes broke out after 2 convoys carrying Shiite Muslims and under police escort were ambushed. Tensions between the two communities date back decades. The ceasefire was brokered by a delegation from the provincial government. The two sides also agreed to exchange prisoners. For more on that, I'm now joined by journalist Iftikhar Firdos, who joins us now from Islamabad. So there has been massive bloodshed on both sides in the last couple of days. The question is then, will the ceasefire last?
The ceasefire has been brokered after 48 hours negotiation. Despite the fact that the government had announced a ceasefire, we did see skirmishes in at least 4 different areas of Kurram district, which is, as you mentioned, part of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in a volatile sectarian region where Shia and Sunni tribesmen have been battling it out for almost more than 30 years. Last night, we've seen that individuals are reporting casualties because despite the fact the communication remains sparred even when a negotiation has been truced. What basically the problem is that a lot of them do not even know or have not received the message that there has been an announcement of a ceasefire. There has been an exchange of hostages that were taken by both parties, as well as we've seen that this morning there was intermittent firing that was being heard from these areas as well.
Now, as you just mentioned there, these tensions go back decades, but what exactly caused this most recent flare-up in the violence?
It seems to be more of a revenge tactic. But the area's history and geography are both complicated. Initially, since it was a Shia-dominated area which bordered Afghanistan, and the Haqqanis, who predominantly used this route, used the TTP, the Pakistani Taliban, as leverage to attack and control the Shia population. But when that dispute has been settled, we see a more international proxy warfare domain where certain elements of the Iranian IRGC, known as the Zainabiyun Brigade, that had been fighting along with the Assad regime in Syria and Iraq as well. Once they have returned, they have become more dangerous, more well-equipped, and were war-trained. But this incident in particular is part of a larger retaliatory attacks that we see between Shia and Sunni tribesmen. There have been at least 6 different attacks before this in which Shia tribes have attacked Sunni tribes and Sunni tribes have attacked Shia tribes. In this particular locality was a reaction. What happened in this locality was a reaction from October, where a Sunni convoy was attacked by Shia tribesmen allegedly. But this time it was seen as more deadlier, and that's why the reaction has been far more devastating.
So it appears to be a very complicated political landscape there. What role exactly does the government play in the region now? We do know that government officials help broker this truce.
Their reliance has primarily been on a centuries-old jirga system, since this area was part of the semi-autonomous tribal regions, which has now been culled of its status and made part of a province. Regular laws of Pakistan being applying over there, but the systems to support the legal, constitutional, as well as a security situation in the area where a state can reimpose itself does not exist. And so therefore, a jirga of both the sides has been called, which is basically sort of a collection of elders from both tribes who have been asked for a ceasefire. It does not necessarily mean that all elements under these particular tribes would abide by this. While the state figures out on a long-term strategy on how to counter this sectarian violence that has the intensity that can spread across the country, because these populations live along each side, not just over here in different areas as well, but it's a process in the making. It's difficult to say that it would be a sustainable peace.
All right, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. That was journalist Iftikhar Firdos. Thank you very much for your reporting.